Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing how I plan our Ambleside Online school year. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, then hit that thumbs up button and stay tuned. Well, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharia Maurice and I'm a homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos, ages 2, 4, and 6. And I like sharing videos on how you can simplify your homeschool to save you time, money, and your sanity. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, then be sure and hit that subscribe button, turn on the little bell icon so that you can be notified of my newest videos. And if you'd like to get a behind the scenes look at our homeschool, you can follow us over on Instagram at @the_Sharia Maurice. Now, like I said, today I am sharing with you how I plan for our Ambleside Online school year and how I customize it to our particular homeschool. So if you're not familiar with Ambleside Online, it's a free online Charlotte Mason style curriculum that you can get for free on amblesideonline.org. And so we are about to start our second year of Ambleside Online. We're wrapping up year 1, and I loved it so much and have continued to love it that I'm just going to keep going with it. So the first thing that I do is, of course, I go to Ambleside Online and I download their schedule for the year that we are going to be starting. So for us, that would be obviously year 2. So I download their year 2 schedule and I save it to my Google Drive and I make a copy of it. That way I have a copy of the original version to refer back to and I don't have to keep going to the website and downloading it. And then I have a modified copy that I customize for our homeschool. So I'm gonna break that down exactly here in a minute. But first of all, when you go to Ambleside Online and you look at their schedule for a given year, you will see it broken down into 3 terms. And each term is 12 weeks. And so they have the weeks listed at the top, and then they have the subjects. They have the subjects to the left, and then for each week they have the readings, because Ambleside Online is a literature-rich program. There's a lot of reading material. And so they list for you all of the reading that you're going to be doing in each week for the whole year for 3 terms. And so that's 36 weeks, I believe. 36, yes, it's 36 weeks. So they'll have, on the first page, they'll give you your subjects, and those are Bible, history, natural history, literature, and poetry. And then on the second page of term 1, this is for year 2, they'll have the same kind of layout, the weeks at the top, and then the subjects on the side, but the subjects are daily work and weekly work. They have it broken down for you, and it's actually a blank space, so they give that to you to fill out according to your own needs. So for the daily work, they have math, handwriting or copy work, phonics or reading instruction, foreign language, that's for their daily work, and then their weekly work would be nature study, timeline, recitation, geography, picture study, drawing, handicrafts, composer study, folk songs, and hymns. And then at the bottom, they list some free reads for you to read aloud or for your child to read on their own, depending on their reading level. So it's a lot, but when you break it down, it's not that much. So it kind of looks overwhelming at first, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to read all of this in a week? No, it's not really as much as it seems. So hang in there with me. So the first thing that I do to modify it is I take out the subjects that we don't cover via Ambleside Online. And for us, that's actually not a lot. When I looked over it, I thought it was a lot more. I think I took out more at year 1 than I am doing now. At year 1, I took out quite a bit of the readings because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to read all of this stuff. I felt that way. But as I've gone through the year, we've finished a lot and I have a lot of open spaces, and I realized, oh yeah, it's not as bad as I actually thought. So I'm keeping quite a bit this year. The only thing that I'm not going to do is for the daily work, we don't do a foreign language. We're not including a foreign language with Ambleside Online. we do Latin through CC or Classical Conversations, and so that's our foreign language right there. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't do drawing for their weekly work either. So that's just the extra stuff. But pretty much I do everything else. And so what I do then is, now that I have a copy saved to my Google Drive, I have a modified version of it. I redo the whole chart. So in term 1, for example, I still keep the subjects off to the left. This is my modified copy. I keep the subjects off to the left, but I reorganize them in order of our homeschool day and when we will get to them. So for example, the first thing that we do in regards to school is our scripture memory during our morning time. So I make sure that that's the first thing listed. And then usually after we've reviewed our scripture memorization, our scriptures, then we will do our character study. And so then I have that listed next. And then after character, I'm going to be doing our term artist. We're going to be studying just an artist per term this year. I did not do this last year, so we will see how it goes, but I have it in the plan to hopefully get to it. We'll be doing a term artist and composer during our morning time as well. And then I have our, what I call beauty books, which is also the morning time reading loop schedule that I have going on. So I shared a little bit about that in my Ambleside Online inspired morning basket video, which I will link for you as well. So then, like I said, I just go through and list it in order of when we will be covering it. And so for the first page on term 1 of my modified copy, it has all of our family subjects. My family subjects take up one whole chart. Then on the next page is our family subjects, but they're for history and geography, nature study, and which nature study is really our science curriculum. So I still do the same kind of thing. I will have the weeks at the top, and then the first thing I put is our CC memory work. And for this, I just do a checkbox so that I can say we reviewed it 4 times that week, because we do school 4 times a week. So I just do a checkbox for that. I'm including catechism this year, and so that's a totally separate thing that Ambleside Online doesn't have. So I just listed it out here per week. Question 1, week 1, question 2, week 2, and so on and so forth. For history, we are following the readings, but I am doing their Ambleside Online for groups, which is for big families or for people who want to do like a co-op of Ambleside Online. They created what they call Ambleside Online for groups, and they group the children based on form. So if you have Form 1 kids, which would be years 1 to 3, I believe, then they would all be in Form 1. Form 2 would be 4 to 6, and then Form 3 is like high school level. It's based on elementary, middle school, and high school, I think. But they've condensed all of the readings so that you can do it with multiple ages, essentially. So for history, I am doing that with my family because I want my kids to all be on the same page in history, and I want to be able to teach it as a family subject as opposed to individual, because that's a lot of reading individually that I would have to do otherwise until they can read on their own. So I'm going to do history for groups. And then geography, we're doing the Tree and the Trail book. That's all part of their curriculum for Ambleside Online. And then nature study, like I said, that's just our science study, but I call it nature study because they have a box for it here. And so I choose our curriculum whenever we get to that, and we do it by term. So for term 1, we're going to be studying marine biology, and my plan is to use the Good and the Beautiful for that. So we'll see. So that is for term 1 and how I order it based on our own schedule and order of events and all that. And then the last page of term 1 that I customize is the individual subjects. And so they have this, I showed you, it was totally blank, right? They have it blank for you to fill in how you see fit and how your curriculums work. Because essentially for your daily work, math, phonics, foreign language, those are curriculum that you farm out. It's not specifically through Ambleside Online. Ambleside Online does not have a phonics reading language arts program to walk your child through to teach you. Now they do have some recommendations and suggestions based on their understanding of Charlotte Mason and what she would encourage you to do if you wanted to follow strictly the Charlotte Mason approach to reading and phonics and all that. But I haven't chosen to do that specifically. So the same with math. They do have options for using math, not textbooks, but math books that are free on Google Books or out in the public domain. But I just preferred to use the Good and the Beautiful. So that's why they leave that open for you to customize to your own needs. So the way I do it is, like I said, I'm one of those people that we just do the next lesson. And so I just make sure that I don't plan out exactly the lessons that we're going to be covering, because sometimes, you know, we slow down and sometimes we speed up, and I don't want to stress myself out over those details. So I just made it to where I have little circles for each child for their math, copywork, language arts, and that's it. So for my son, I have 4 little boxes for week 1 where I will check off if he's done his math every day for 4 days. If he hasn't, I'll see where we've missed and, you know, we'll go from there. But when we open up our lesson the next time, we'll just do the next lesson. And then the same goes for copywork. I want him to at least work on his handwriting 4 times a week. Same for language arts. We'll do a lesson 4 times a week, and that's it. So I have a section here for each child. I even have it for my youngest, my 2-year-old. She doesn't do any of this yet, but I have it there so that when the time does come, I just have to start filling it out for her. So that's just there. And then the last thing I have is assignments. I don't actually use this blank space. I might use it for future if I do assign them specific work to do on their own. But really at this stage, I'm the heavy guide in everything because they're still so young. So there's no individual assignments that they do on their own at this point. There may be in the future, hence the reason I put that in the schedule. So that is how I customize the term specifically to our homeschool. So after I organize the rows based on the order of our day, I make note also of where the specific book is located. So I shared in a video or 2 ago now that you can get a lot of the books for free online or at the library or anywhere. And so what I have found is that I'm going through here, you know, preparing our week, and I'm like, okay, well, where is this book? And did I get this at the library? Do I need to get it? Do I have it available on my Kindle? All of this stuff. So I put in the schedule for quick reference exactly where I find it. So if we're reading Parables of Nature, I make a note that, oh, it's on the AO website. So I'm going to go on my phone during the time we read Parables of Nature and read from Ambleside Online directly. Or if I've purchased the book, I just say book. Or if it's on the Kindle, I'll make a note that and say Kindle so I know exactly where it is. And if it's at the library, obviously then I'll write library. So that way I know exactly where everything is when it comes time to actually work this out in real life. And so then when it comes down to it, I just go through and read. It's really a lot of reading. And like I said, most of it involves morning time, and I put it through a loop. And so we'll just read until we get to the next thing, or we'll read a chapter and then move on to the next thing, or we'll read until we run out of time, just depending on how we're feeling about it. And then we'll pick it up the next day. And it seems like a lot of reading. Like for week 1, I'm reading, let's see, I'm reading Shakespeare, I'm reading Little Pilgrim's Progress, about 800 words. I'm reading some poetry. I'm reading from the Burgess Animal book. I'm reading from Our Island Story, Trial and Triumph. I'm reading half of chapter 1 of The Little Duke, and I'm reading chapter 1 of Tree in the Trail. That is a lot of reading, not to mention the math, reading, and writing lessons that we are doing. It seems like a lot, but I'm not doing every single thing every single day, and I have a whole week to do it. So in week 2, while I may be reading, let's see. Yes, in week 2, I'm reading Our Island Story, but I still don't have to read A Child's History of the World. I don't have any stories to read out of that book. And I don't have any Trial and Triumph that week if I finished Charlemagne from week 1. So it seems like a lot, but in reality, it's not that much. And if you just divvy it out into bite-sized pieces each day, you'll finish the weekly readings in plenty of time in your scheduled homeschool day, which for us, that's about like 3 hours of total time. We're usually done by lunch, and that's on the high end, 3 hours. So it is a lot of reading, but when it plays out in real life, it's not as much as you might think. So that is really it. I modify the daily work checkboxes like I showed you, and then each week as we go through, I'll just check off what they've done and then go from there. I've shared how after I've done all of this, I will then go and print off my book lists and make sure that I know where I'm getting everything. Like I said, I'll then, make a note where I can find this book when it comes time to read it. And then I place holds at the library. And as the school year gets closer, like probably the week before or 2 weeks before, I'll go and print out any material that we need in relation to our studies. So for our artist study, for example, I will print off the pictures that we need to be studying for that first term. And then I'll make sure I have our hymns and folk songs saved on a YouTube playlist so that I can play those. So those are just like the small little things that I put on for the finishing touches, really. And then for poetry, I actually do that just once a week for our poetry tea time. It's Monday afternoons. We have poetry tea time. And that's whenever we will study our poet for the term, which for Ambleside Online Year 2, the first one we're covering is Walter de la Mare. And I'm actually just reading, I have a note here that I'm going to read it straight from the AO website. So we'll be sitting down at my table and I'll be looking at my phone, reading the poetry while the kids are enjoying their poetry tea time snacks. Really simple. So that is how I plan and prepare for our Ambleside Online homeschool year and how I customize it to our specific homeschool. It seems like a lot, it seems overwhelming, but the material is rich and wonderful, and it really just, it's worth it. It's a lot of reading, but it's worth it. And as your children get older and they're able to read on their own, they'll be able to pick up more of that reading themselves, and it'll be wonderful. A wonderful experience for them. We have enjoyed every reading, and I have nothing but good things to say about all of it. So if you need a cheap or free curriculum that is good and robust and will educate your child and fill their minds with everything that's beautiful and good and true, then Ambleside Online is right for you. So please don't be overwhelmed by it or, choose not to do it because it seems like it's too much, because it's really not. So I hope that this video encouraged you and inspired you to do it and helped you kind of understand how Ambleside Online works. If you enjoyed it, then give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the little bell icon so that you can be notified of my newest videos, and I will see you in the next one.